Welcome back from our health tips segment. I hope you learned a thing or two about your health. Now, moving on to our conversation for today on Good Morning Abuja, we'll be talking about the furniture manufacturing industry in Nigeria. This is one industry that we have seen grow from minimal to top notch. Like everywhere you go, homes, business places, furniture is one thing that a lot of people look out for and definitely use it to beautify their environment. And with us in the studio right now is a furniture manufacturer, Mr. Ebireri Akpo. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Cynthia. And
it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
All right, now let's talk about the furniture industry. You know, like I said earlier, it has grown from just basic to top notch. How did we get there and what are we expecting in the coming years, of course?
It's been a lot of work to have grown to the point where they are. I'd say a decade ago, people just decorated their homes because there was a necessity to furnish. But now people make fashion statements out of it. It's the different, your space, your restaurant, your home, your hotel. It's dependent on the quality of furnishing that you have there, or the creativity your furniture is able to, dispense while at it.
So now the furniture business, is it viable?
Yes, it is. Globally, it's a $350 billion industry.
Wow.
So I would say significantly you have a huge stake in it.
Okay.
Here in Abuja, we have several industrial centers, wood industrial centers. You have the Day market, the Kubo market, the Jabi market, and these are centers that not just provide jobs for people. They're also used as virtual centers for carpenters who don't even have shops of their own.
Okay.
They make a lean profit off these things by outsourcing to those who have machineries or tools in this place to execute. But yes, there's been significant growth.
All right. You mentioned one of the centers, which is the Kubo Furniture Market, right? That is situated in the Nyanya axis of the FCT. And recently we saw that it was razed down by fire. And, I'm sure everybody was just wondering, how did that happen? I mean, it's a very big market for it to just be burnt down like that. How did it happen? And what can they do better to make sure that this doesn't occur again?
It's an unfortunate scenario. I mean,
very unfortunate, yeah.
Begin the year like that. I mean, beyond the people who own shops there, who were the primary victims of this, like I said, there are people who use these places like this as virtual centers. So they are the secondary victims, of this. But if you had visited the market before it burned down, you would know that the signs for something like this to happen were there. But it's an industry that is individualistically driven. You have private players. You don't really get much of a structural support or policy support from government. And where an industry that, people drive themselves, there's hardly any coordination, there's hardly any structure, there's hardly any planning. So the Kubo market was a disaster that was waiting to happen. The wiring was poor there, the entire space was just very rowdy. I mean, it could have been better, they could have been managed better. They have a union. I'm sure some of their challenges, some of their issues, could have been brought before authorities that could have,
fixed
seen to it. So the disaster could have been avoided. It could.
Okay. Now you're also into the furniture manufacturing business, but you call yourself the Rustic Furniture Manufacturer. Tell us a little bit more about that rustic furniture aspect of it.
Yeah, rustic furnishing is when you make furnishing out of materials in their original state.
Okay.
Rustic furnishing, it's not just wood. You also have steel rustic furnishing. So it's just creating furnishing out of materials, but with an appreciation for them in their natural state.
Okay.
So you cut log in the bush, but it's against processing it, overly processing it and polishing it and having a piece like this in your living room. You just want to bring a piece of nature home to you.
Okay, so that's an aspect of the industry, right?
Yes, it is.
And is it new in Nigeria?
No, it's not. It's been there for some time. Now there's a growing appreciation for it.
Okay, there's a growing appreciation. Yes. That means it was not really
no.
appreciated
even
then.
Even like the conventional carpentry work, like I said earlier, people just got it because you needed to put a piece
Just
of
put a
furniture in
chair
your
and
house.
table in your
But
house.
things have since changed. Um, the rustic market has existed, but it's been very small and it's been seen as a niche market.
Okay, but was it mostly at homes or at business places, or where exactly do they use this rustic furnishing?
Anyway,
Okay,
actually, you could be here in your studio, you could be in your hotel, you could be at home in your office. You have pieces for different, places, different centers.
so how affordable are they?
Now that's the thing.
Because firstly, for someone who is going to cut down trees and process it and find, make it
Yes.
really nice, will it also cost that same amount of money for someone who just cuts down the wood and uses it in its natural state? Because this one, as I said, how affordable is it? And you said, okay, that's the thing. I feel like you're about to drop some financial bomb on us right
Not
now.
financial bomb. It's hard work. When I started to do this some years back, in fact, the goal and the vision I had was to make it very affordable. If you travel to other parts of the world, you have friends who have things like this in their homes, and they're not from affluent backgrounds. They have access to materials or workshops that can easily manufacture these things, but the work is done manually here, or has been done manually here. Now there are new players in the industry, and they are introducing machineries. So a piece that would ordinarily take maybe 2-3 weeks to do manually, physical chiseling, all of that, might take maybe 3 days or 4, to finish. And the finish is a lot better than you would have it, a couple of years ago. But for the cost, which was your initial concern, when somebody does physical work like this, I mean, if you're there when the production is going in, you understand why they charge us much. It's hard work. Somebody will spend, maybe a week or two chiseling. Now, for a laborer who does machinery work, he charges 3,500, 4,000 naira a day. Now, you imagine someone who does 2 weeks chiseling a particular item.
Okay.
You understand? There has to be commercial value for the work that has been done.
You have a point.
Yes. So, but now that we have machineries, it takes the burden off them. They can produce more in a shorter time frame, and it significantly drops the cost of the item. Eventually.
All right, Mr. Ebireri, before we let you go, just briefly, how do you think the furniture business or industry would grow, or how will it be like a few years from now? Let's say 5 years.
We're heavily competing right now.
That's worldwide, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
The quality of work that we're doing now is great. That's significantly improved. But, I mean, they could use some help. One, they could consciously redirect investment, because you have lots of people investing in finished furnishings, and they're also equally aggressively marketed like the locally produced items. It's not going to be very, but Nigeria is a big market, so we don't get to feel it as much. But if we had a restructured system where, local governments had to source their own income, you rely on centers like this, to generate incomes like that. So there has to be sincerity in policy support. There has to be sincerity in structural support. That's the best way to drive these industries. They will provide the jobs for us in the future, because government really can't do everything. They would help meet the financial targets of some of these institutions, AEDC, FRAS, who have revenue generating.
So in 5 years, basically, everything would be better, right?
With
in the industry, with
support.
some tweaking here and there.
Yes,
all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebireri.
Thank you, Cynthia,
Akpo, for coming on the program. Really interested talking about furniture business. And like you've heard, it's very competitive, it's very viable. And in the next 5 years, who knows, furniture may just be the next big thing. So if you're thinking about going into the furniture business, there you have it. It's a viable one. You can just try it out, and you might just succeed at it. All right, we've been speaking with a rustic furniture manufacturer, and that is all we have for you for this conversation. Coming up next is another interesting topic that you do not want to miss, but we'll be getting to that after this break.